In today's video, I want to give you another example of a trade setup and trigger for all the people who continue to ask, what is a trigger? So anyway, this is actually a secondary entry in Apple. Okay, this is the daily chart of Apple. And the original entry decision was here against this 149 even to 76 area. And we did see a nice initial rally off of that zone, but then we started to pull back. But the pullback actually gave us a secondary entry because it was a two-step pattern into support, and we knew that as long as we held above this support decision, we could look for new buy triggers because ultimately the target from this last low had not yet been met. That still comes in above the market at the 158.54 area. Okay. Then we had this two-step, and then this is the one that just triggered, and it actually triggered today. So let me give you an idea of where that comes from or what that looks like. Let me just find my little recording. Here it is. It was hiding. Okay, so here on a 15-minute chart, okay, this really shows you where we pulled back into the support at, let's see, this was right around that 152 area, and we held key support, and then it triggered an entry. So where's the actual trigger? Well, this is a 15-minute chart, okay, and the typical trigger that I have you guys look at for a swing trade entry is either a 15-minute or a 30-minute for a swing trade entry. Okay, so here, when you both had the moving average crossover, the 8 cross above the 34, and then you also took out a prior swing high, that was essentially your trigger for an entry this morning in Apple. Okay, at that point you could buy Apple or, you know, options or stock, whatever, and then your initial risk would have been defined as below this last low, either that or below the low end of the cluster, depending on, you know, how you choose to write up your trading plan. But what was also interesting was that not only did we have the regular trigger that I like to look at, there was also a squeeze trigger that fired off about the same exact time. And there was also an RAF trigger. Now I'm not going to explain the RAF trigger right here, but if you've heard about it before, that was from David that we work with in the trading room, and he also figured out you know, a method that just prints out an arrow when there's a buy signal or a sell signal. So bottom line, the setup was a secondary entry in Apple against this support decision. The trigger was the 15-minute chart with the EMA crossover to the upside, also taking out a prior swing high, and now it seems to be on the way at least towards this original target that we're looking for at the 158.54 area. And as far as shorter term targets for the swing off of this low, we're already just short of that first target. So first target off of this smaller swing is 155.63, second target is 156.56, and then the initial target off of this swing, 158.54. If that one is met, then the next target after that comes in at 160.94. So anyway, we don't always make the targets, but the way you make money with this work is setup plus trigger equals trade entry, and then you manage it. And this is just a really good example of a trade setup and the trigger that I showed you on the 15-minute chart. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week.